It was a clear, crisp morning when Manuel decided to embark on his journey through the mountains of Siquijor. Known for its mystical reputation, Siquijor had always intrigued him. He wanted to see the lush landscapes, breathe the fresh mountain air, and perhaps catch a glimpse of the island's renowned natural beauty. After hours of trekking through the dense forest, Manuel came across a large, ancient tree. Its sprawling roots and thick canopy provided the perfect spot for a rest. The sun was high in the sky, and the cool shade beckoned him. He sat down, leaned against the trunk, and soon drifted into a peaceful sleep. When Manuel woke up, he immediately sensed something was off. The air was different, thicker and tinged with an otherworldly glow. As his eyes adjusted, he realized he was no longer in the familiar forest. He found himself in a strange, luminous place, surrounded by tall, white-skinned beings with pointed ears. They stared at him with eyes that seemed to see right through his soul. Manuel's heart raced as he took in his surroundings. He had heard stories of the Engkanto, mystical beings said to inhabit the forests and mountains, but he never truly believed them. Now, confronted with these ethereal figures, he knew he had crossed into their realm. Panic set in as he tried to make sense of his situation. The Engkanto began to approach Manuel, their movements graceful yet eerie. They spoke in a language he couldn't understand, their voices melodic but unsettling. One of them, who seemed to be the leader, gestured for him to follow. Terrified but without any other option, Manuel complied, hoping to find a way out. They led him to an enchanted village, unlike anything Manuel had ever seen. The huts glowed with a soft light, and strange, colorful plants adorned the landscape. Engkanto beings moved about, each one casting curious glances at the newcomer. Manuel felt a mix of awe and dread as he walked through the village. In the center of the village, a grand feast was laid out. Tables were laden with exotic fruits, meats, and drinks, all shimmering with a magical glow. The Engkanto invited Manuel to partake, but he remembered the warnings from old stories. Never accept food or drink from the otherworldly, lest you be trapped forever. Manuel sat apart from the feast, pretending to be overwhelmed by the strange surrounding. His mind raced, trying to recall anything that might help him escape. Then he remembered his grandmother's stories, and the prayer she taught him. A prayer meant to protect against malevolent spirits. It was a long shot, but it was his only hope. Quietly, Manuel clasped his hands together and began to recite the prayer. He focused on each word, hoping that the Engkanto wouldn't notice. The air around him seemed to shift, and he felt a warmth spread through his body. The Engkanto started to sense something was amiss, their eyes narrowing in suspicion. The Engkanto leader, realizing what Manuel was doing, raised a hand as if to stop him. The other beings closed in, their previously serene faces now twisted with anger. Manuel's heart pounded, but he continued the prayer, his voice growing louder and more confident. Suddenly, a blinding light enveloped Manuel, and the Engkanto recoiled, shielding their eyes. The prayer seemed to be working. He felt himself being lifted, the world around him dissolving into a blur of colors and light. The last thing he heard was the enraged cries of the Engkanto before everything went dark. When Manuel woke up, he was back under the large tree. Disoriented but relieved, he looked around and saw the familiar forest. It was as if no time had passed. The experience felt all too real. He quickly gathered his belongings and set off, eager to leave the mountains behind. Back in his village, Manuel shared his harrowing tale. People listened with a mix of skepticism and awe, but the elders nodded knowingly. They knew the mountains of Siquijor held many secrets, and that Manuel's encounter was a reminder of the unseen world that coexisted with their own. Manuel was never the same after his encounter. He became more cautious and respectful of the old traditions and warnings. The experience had opened his eyes to the reality of the supernatural, and he knew that the Engkanto and other mystical beings were not just stories, but real entities that demanded respect. Manuel made it his mission to educate the younger generation about the dangers of disrespecting nature and the supernatural. He emphasized the importance of prayers and rituals passed down through generations, ensuring that the knowledge would not be forgotten. The mountains of Siquijor continued to hold their secrets, but thanks to Manuel's story, people were reminded of the delicate balance between the human world and the supernatural. his legacy lived on, a testament to the power of faith, courage, and the wisdom of the ancient. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the mystical mountains of Siquijor. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more tales of the supernatural from Philippine folklore, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Dilim Chronicles. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay safe and always be aware of the unseen.